Hey guys, Down Phoenix here, and I am playing Warframe. And this game is an awesome free-to-play third-person shooter made by Digital Extremes, the same developer that made Star Trek. I know what you're saying. But yeah, this game's actually really good. I mean, I kind of like Star Trek. I mean, I might have mentioned that before, but this game blows it away in every regard as far as the gameplay, the graphics, and so on. So I definitely recommend checking it out if you're not completely opposed to free-to-play games. But I'm here to actually talk about some more Nintendo-related news. This time it's involving Nintendo and EA. Apparently, EA has no games in development for Nintendo's Wii U. That is pretty disastrous when you consider the Wii U is a new console. It's only been on the market for about 6 months now, and Nintendo can use all the games they can get in order to become relevant again in the home market. Now, yes, the Nintendo Wii was the top-selling console of this generation, but you have to figure that with the Nintendo Wii, a lot of the sales were from the earlier part of the generation, the first 3 or 4 years. The sales really kind of became tepid after that, and so that's part of the reason why Nintendo wanted to release a new console. They knew that, the average gamer really wasn't interested in the Wii U so much anymore. I guess they figured, well, it's probably because the system's not powerful enough. At this current juncture, which that's not the case. I mean, come on. The Wii U has the graphics of the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, but, in some regards, it's even better. I mean, there's a few multi-platform games like Need for Speed Most Wanted, which looked better on the Wii U. Definitely better than it does on the other platforms. So that's definitely not the case. The fact of the matter is, the Wii U just has had a pretty poor launch when you consider how consoles launch. I would say it's pretty much up there with, I'd say even worse than the PlayStation 3's launch. And you have to figure the PlayStation 3 launched at a really high price point. But at least Sony had a couple of things that they could say, yes, this kind of justifies the price point, such as having Blu-ray or plate capabilities and, stuff like that. Nintendo doesn't really have anything of that nature. I mean, there is the whole Nintendo TV, but from what I understand, not that many people are really interested in that. Especially when you consider that, everybody's got like their home, cable boxes or satellite dish boxes and so on that can automatically manage this stuff. Now, with that being said, I still think that whole thing is a good idea. But really, what Nintendo needs to deliver on is games. I mean, Nintendo is really dropping the ball here. I know that games take a long time to go in development. I know Nintendo has a penchant for quality and all that good stuff, and that is really good. I mean, that is definitely one of the reasons why Nintendo is one of the top gaming companies in the world. But we have to be realistic here. The fans want to be teased. They want to know that something is going to come out for the Wii U. If you guys are working on a game like a Zelda game or a Metroid game or something like that, like a new title for the Wii U, you should tease this to your fans. You should let them know, yes, this is coming out. You shouldn't wait until 6 months before it is going to come out for the system to mention it. Because Nintendo gamers as a whole really have not been impressed with the Wii U. They really don't really see much of a reason to buy this system. We're not talking about just the average gamer. We're talking about your actual hardcore fan base that is kind of struggling with this. Now, I mean, I guess this does share some parallels with the 3DS when it first came out. But you guys were able to eventually deliver on the games, and you were able to deliver a solid price point, that really helped the 3DS to build up. And, I mean, the 3DS is not as successful as the mobile platforms, but it definitely carves a nice niche that you can't get on a mobile platform, for the most part at least. I mean, it certainly is a lot more convenient to just pick up a 3DS rather than what I talked about in the other video where, yes, you can play with the controller with these smartphones and tablets, but you know, there's definitely some rigidity to that. You know, it's not just as simple as picking up the 3DS and, you know, immediately start playing, you know. So Nintendo just really needs to focus on delivering this. I mean, EA is out of the game. Now, another console that I really like, the Sega Dreamcast, shares something in common with the Wii U now. The Dreamcast didn't really have any EA games. Apparently EA, they didn't think that the Dreamcast was going to be worth developing for. And I guess part of the reason for that is the fact that the Sega did really poorly with the Sega Saturn, and EA kind of went in full force with the Sega Saturn. You know, they had a lot of games that they made for the Sega Saturn, so they didn't want kind of a repeat of that, you know, and risk being unprofitable and being unable to make money off of those ports. So they decided to ditch the Sega Saturn. Now, that did help Sega build up the sports franchise that is now known as 2K, that makes the top basketball game on the market. And they also make some other excellent sports games. And that would have probably never happened if EA was on board with the Dreamcast. So, you know, there probably will be some good things that can come out of EA not supporting the Wii U. But ultimately, it could really damage the overall sales potential of the Wii U, because EA is a huge third-party developer. They make a lot of popular games. Yeah, a lot of people don't like them for whatever reason, you know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons people don't like EA, and that's totally understandable. I, you know, can't argue with you guys on that. Now, I mean, like, I did make that video, is EA the worst company in the world? No. But I did mention, is EA the worst company in gaming? Well, if you made that argument, you'd have some points to that. You know, I wouldn't go against you on that. But yeah, Nintendo, they're definitely going to have to find some way to make up for the lack of those kinds of titles. In part because EA was a big supporter of the original Nintendo Wii. But really, if you think about it, a lot of the games were not very successful that they released on the Wii, including exclusive titles like Boom Blocks, which was a critically acclaimed title, and it was well advertised and everything, but it just did not sell. It really, with the third-party companies, it really is a challenge on Nintendo consoles. I really don't know why that is, to be honest. You know, I really don't know why third-party games sell so much worse on Nintendo consoles. I mean, yeah, the Wii, it was less graphically enhanced, so I mean, that definitely had some points when you compare it to the PS3 or 360 sales of their games. But what about the Nintendo GameCube? EA really struggled on that platform as well, and that sold about as well as the original Xbox. But the original Xbox was a lot better for EA than the GameCube was, despite the relative closeness in the sales. So yeah, I mean, Nintendo just needs to figure out some way to make up for this gap. They need kind of their 2K, if you will, in order to really overcome this obstacle. And it's going to have to be more than just a 2K, because like I said, that didn't really work for Sega. I mean, it did help and stay relevant a little bit longer, but that's all it really did. And Nintendo, I know they're not in such the dire straits as Sega was at that point. But if they don't do something about this, they will one day be in that position. So, the ball is in your court. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you like this, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a sub. With that, guys, Down Phoenix out.